Hello there, sleepy cutie. Welcome to a gentle, dreamlike journey. Tonight, you'll be floating away with Finn and Jake, sailing softly on a cosmic boat, drifting toward the haunted moon. No need to stay awake. Just listen, relax, and let the story carry you like a lullaby. The night in Ooh was quiet. So quiet that even the grasslands seemed to hum in a hush. Finn sat with his hands behind his head, looking up at the stars, and Jake stretched out beside him, paws dangling lazily. "Yo, Finn," Jake mumbled in a sleepy drawl. "You ever notice? The moon looks kinda spooky tonight?" Finn squinted. The moon shimmered brighter than usual, its glow almost silver blue, like a lantern hanging just for them. "I don't know, Jake," Finn replied softly. "But it feels like it's calling to us, like it wants us to visit." And so their adventure began. From the Candy Kingdom, Princess Bubblegum had given them a small, enchanted boat, a cosmic boat made of glowing wood and woven with stardust. It could float, not on water, but on moonlight itself. The boat swayed gently, creaking like a lullaby, and Finn pushed off with a silver oar. With each stroke, ripples of starlight spread across the night sky. Jake yawned, his body stretching like a blanket. This is comfy, dude. Like riding a dream instead of a boat." Finn smiled, eyes heavy but curious. "Yeah, a dream voyage. Let's see what's waiting on the moon." As they floated higher, the land of Ooh shrank below them. The forests and mountains folding into shadows, the Candy Kingdom twinkling faintly like a tiny lantern in this distance. Above them stretched the velvet sky, full of stars that blinked slowly, like sleepy eyes watching from afar. The boat drifted and drifted, with only the soft creak of wood and the gentle hum of moonlight beneath it. They passed through a cloud of glowing dust-tinny star sparks that shimmered around them like fireflies. Jake giggled, his long arms scooping them up lazily. "Sparkly bedtime snacks. Wonder if they taste like marshmallows." He popped one in his mouth and blinked. Tastes like sugar and pillows." Finn laughed softly, shaking his head. "Don't eat too many, dude. We still got a long way to go." As the moon grew larger in the sky, they noticed strange shadows moving across its surface. Not quick or scary, but slow drifting shapes, like long fingers reaching across craters. "Spooky," Jake murmured, his voice heavy with sleep. "Like the moon's got ghosty vibes." Finn leaned on the edge of the boat, his eyelids drooping but curious. "Yeah, but we'll be okay, Jake. It's just the two of us. The moon can't be that haunted, right?" The boat rocked gently, lulled by invisible tides of starlight. Finn's eyes grew heavier, and Jake stretched into a pillow for him to rest on. "Night voyage," Jake whispered. "Half asleep already. Best kind of voyage." And so, with the moon glowing brighter ahead, the two friends drifted, closer and closer, while the night wrapped them in soft, quiet shadows. As the first chapter of their journey drifts to an end, Finn and Jake's cosmic boat glides gently through the night. The moon waits ahead, glowing with mystery. But for now, the stars cradle them in peaceful light. And in this calm space, you can rest too, floating quietly with them. Until the next part of the voyage begins. The boat creaked softly as it rocked. Finn rubbed his eyes, blinking awake from a short doze. Jake was already snoring, his body stretched across the boat like a golden blanket. Finn leaned against the oar, gazing at the moon. It was closer now, so close. He could see faint marks across its surface, like shadows carved into the craters. The shadows didn't move quickly, but they shifted, as though the moon itself was breathing. Finn tilted his head. "Jake, do you see that?" Jake mumbled in his sleep. "Donut trees. Save me one with sprinkles," and rolled over with a soft snore. Finn smiled faintly. "Guess it's just me for now." The boat glided through another cloud of glowing dust. This time the sparks danced differently, swirling in slow circles, as if pulled by a hidden force. Finn reached out his hand. The dust clung to his fingers, forming tiny shapes like faces, blinking up at him. Whispers followed, soft as wind through grass. Not words he could understand, but gentle sighs, like the moon was speaking in dreams. Finn shivered. It wasn't scary, just strange. Like someone telling a story in the language of sighs. Jake stirred, yawning loudly. "What's going on, dude? Why's the sky whispering at you?" Finn showed him the sparks on his hand. "They're like little ghost faces. And they're talking, kinda." Jake squinted, rubbing his eyes. He poked one of the glowing faces with his paw. It giggled, then floated away, dissolving like mist. "Huh." Jake chuckled sleepily. "Guess the moon's got bedtime buddies." Finn grinned, but the whispers lingered in his mind. He couldn't help but wonder what they meant. The boat drifted closer. The moonlight grew brighter, spilling silver blue across their faces. Finn shielded his eyes, not from harshness, but from the sheer glow, like standing near a giant lantern. Suddenly, the boat slowed. No waves, no wind, just stillness. The oar wouldn't move. The boat floated in place, as though an invisible hand held it gently. Jake frowned, ears twitching. "Yo, Finn, why we stopping? Moon traffic jam?" Finn looked over the side. Beneath them was no longer starlight. It was a wide, glowing pool of silver lake in the middle of the sky. And deep in that lake, something stirred. The whispers grew louder. Not harsh, not frightening, just closer. Finn and Jake leaned together, ears perked. "Can you hear it now, Jake?" Jake nodded slowly. "Yeah, it's like somebody's singing underwater." The sound rose, soft, steady like a lullaby, but carried on moonlight instead of wind. The boat rocked gently in a rhythm. Finn felt his eyes grow heavy again, as though the song itself wanted him to sleep. Jake rubbed his face. "Man, this moon's got sleepy vibes. Like extra sleepy vibes." Then slowly, Silver Lake rippled. And from its surface rose a figure, not frightening, not sharp, but shadowy, like a tall silhouette made of fog. It had no face, only two glowing eyes, calm and watchful. Finn held his breath. Jake stretched his arm protectively around him. The figure raised one hand, pointing toward the moon. No words came, only more whispers, soft as leaves brushing together. Finn swallowed. I think it wants us to keep going." Jake blinked. "Well, good thing we were already doing that." The figure sank back into the silver pool, rippling away into the stillness. And just like that, the boat began to move again. Slowly, smoothly, it drifted forward, toward the glowing moon. Jake let out a long breath. "Okay, that was definitely some haunted moon business." Finn nodded, his eyes fixed on the glowing surface ahead. Yeah, and I think it's only the beginning. Soft closing for part 2. And so Finn and Jake continue their midnight voyage, their boat gliding once more through the quiet sky. The whispers fade into silence, but the memory lingers, soft as a dream. Ahead, the haunted moon waits. Closer now, brighter now, full of secrets still to come. For now, you can rest with them, floating gently onward, until the next part of the journey unfolds. The boat glided for a long while. Time felt stretched, like honey dripping slowly from a spoon. Neither Finn nor Jake could tell if they had been drifting for minutes or for hours. The moonlight grew brighter, wrapping them in silver blue. It was soft, not harsh, like walking through a field of glowworms at night. Finally, the boat slowed once more. Its bow tilted slightly downward, and the silver glow beneath them thickened, hardening into pale stone. They had arrived. The boat touched down with a quiet thump. Finn leaned forward, his boots crunching against moon dust. The surface was smooth in some places, but in others it crumbled like powdered sugar. Jake stretched, yawning wide. Man, this moon's like the biggest sandbox ever. Bet I could bury you in 2 seconds flat. Finn grinned, brushing dust off his gloves. Later, dude. Right now, let's see what's out here. They stepped onto the moon's surface together. The boat shimmered faintly behind them, anchored in place by some quiet magic. The air was still. Silent. Too silent. No wind. No sound of breath. Even their footsteps seemed hushed, like the dust swallowed every noise. Jake's ears twitched. Yo, why is it so quiet? Feel like the moon's holding its breath or something. Finn looked around. The horizon stretched in gentle hills of pale silver. But far ahead, he saw something different on the crater. Dark and deep. Its edges glowed faintly blue, as though lit from within. That way? Finn whispered. They walked slowly, their boots sinking softly into the dust. Each step felt like a dream, slow, gentle, weightless in the low gravity. Jake stretched his body tall, bouncing lightly. Check it out, Finn. Moon makes me feel like a trampoline. Boing, boing. He bounced lazily, landing beside Finn with a soft thud. Finn chuckled, but his eyes stayed on the crater. Yeah, it's fun, but something's waiting in there. I can feel it. As they neared the crater, the glow grew brighter. A pale mist curled upward, dancing like ribbons. Finn peered over the edge. The crater dropped steeply, its floor hidden beneath the mist. Jake leaned beside him, eyes half-lidded with sleep. Looks spooky, dude. Like one of those places where, ghosts tell bedtime stories. Finn tilted his head. Ghosts telling bedtime stories? That doesn't sound too scary. Jake yawned. Yeah, 'cause in the story, they just whisper you back to sleep. The mist shifted suddenly. Shapes moved within it. Not sharp, not solid, but hazy outlines, like shadows made of smoke. Finn leaned forward. He thought he saw a figure tall, thin, with arms stretched long, just for a moment. Then it melted back into the mist. Jake blinked. Did you see that? Finn nodded. Yeah. I think the whispers led us here. Without another word, they climbed down carefully, sliding on patches of moon dust, descending into the glowing crater. The mist curled around them as they moved deeper. It wasn't cold. It wasn't hot. It was just there, like walking through someone's dream. The deeper they went, the quieter everything became. Even their thoughts seemed muffled, wrapped in layers of silence. Jake finally spoke, his voice a low murmur. "Finn, you ever get the feeling we're inside someone's memory?" Finn frowned. "What do you mean?" Jake rubbed his head. "I don't know, man. This place, it feels like it remembers stuff. Like it's watching us. And it knows everything we've done." Finn looked around slowly. The mist swirled in soft spirals, almost forming faces, almost forming shapes, then dissolving again. He swallowed. "Maybe you're right." At the bottom of the crater, the mist grew thick. But through it, Finn saw something faintly glowing. A circle, perfectly round, etched into the lunar stone. The circle pulsed softly, like the beat of a slow, sleeping heart. Finn stepped closer, his breath shallow. Jake followed, his paw resting lightly on Finn's shoulder. As they reached the glowing circle, the mist stilled. Everything went perfectly silent. And then a whisper rose. Not from the mist, not from the air, from the stone itself. "Welcome." Finn froze. Jake's eyes widened. The word wasn't loud. It wasn't frightening. But it was there, clear, calm, like someone had spoken just behind their ears. Jake muttered. "Finn, did the moon just say hi to us?" Finn stared at the glowing circle. "Yeah, I think it did." The whisper came again. Slow, steady. "You have come to remember." The crater glowed brighter, and the mist swirled upward, forming shapes once more. This time the shapes were clearer. Figures, silhouettes of people not strangers, but familiar. Finn gasped softly. He saw Princess Bubblegum, Marceline, Ice King, all made of light and fog and drifting like memories in a dream. Jake's ears drooped. "Whoa, it's showing us our friends." The silhouettes didn't move toward them. They just lingered, watching quietly, their faces half hidden in mist. The whisper returned. "Remember what was lost. Remember what waits." Finn and Jake stood side by side, hearts thudding softly in their chests. The crater wasn't just haunted. It was alive, and it was trying to tell them something. But what? Finn swallowed hard, his voice barely above a breath. "Jake, I think we're not alone here." Jake nodded slowly. "Yeah, dude, but maybe that's not a bad thing." And so the crater glows quietly, the mist drifting like dreams around Finn and Jake. The moon has welcomed them, shown them shadows of their friends, and whispered of memories yet to come. For now, they stand at the center of the silence, waiting, listening, ready for whatever secrets the moon might reveal next. But you can simply rest here, floating with them in the quiet mist, peaceful and calm, until the next part of the journey begins. The mist inside the crater curled and thinned, opening into a dim pathway. Finn brushed moon dust from his boots. "Come on, Jake. Whatever's waiting, it's this way." Jake stretched his legs long, touching the crater wall for balance. "Man, this place is like one big foggy maze. I hope it's got snacks." They followed the glowing path. The air was weightless, soft, and every step sounded like a sigh. At the end of the path, the mist cleared, and towering in silence stood a castle. Its walls shimmered pale silver, crumbling in places, Arches stretched toward the sky, and windows glowed faintly like eyes half awake. Jake whistled low. "Whoa, Haunted Moon Castle," called it. Finn's eyes widened. "It's huge. Way bigger than I thought." He reached out, brushing the cold surface of the wall. The stone pulsed faintly, glowing under his touch. "Feels alive." Jake's tail flicked. "A live castle? That's new. Usually castles are just castles." They stepped inside. The great hall opened into darkness. Columns broken, ceilings cracked, but the air was filled with a soft hum. A sound. Not music. Not whispers. Something in between. Jake's ears perked. "Dude, hear that? Sounds like a lullaby, but sad." Finn nodded. "It's like the castle is singing to itself." The sound followed them through the hall. Every door was tall and arched, every corridor lined with broken statues. Some had faces worn smooth, others were half gone, as though erased from memory. Jake rubbed the back of his neck. "Finn, why are all the statues faceless? That's kind of spooky." Finn's grip tightened on his sword hilt. "I don't know, but maybe we'll find out." They came to a long staircase spiraling upward. A faint glow shimmered at the top. Jake stretched his body, head reaching the upper floor before his legs. He peeked over the edge. Finn, you're going to want to see this." Finn climbed quickly. At the top, they found a vast chamber. Moonlight spilled through the shattered ceiling, falling onto a great mirror in the center of the room. The mirror stood taller than both of them, its frame carved with silver vines and strange runes. Its surface rippled like water, showing not their reflections, but something else. Jake squinted. "That ain't me. That's me, but not me." In the mirror, Finn and Jake stood together, but older. Different. Their faces marked with lines of time, their eyes heavy with stories untold. Finn swallowed. "That's, us in the future." The mirror shimmered again, and new figures appeared. Princess Bubblegum, Marceline, Ice King, though younger as Simon. They all drifted in and out of the reflection, like a dream stitched together with light. Jake's voice dropped low. "Finn, this castle, it's remembering things that didn't happen yet." Finn stepped closer to the mirror, his hand hovering above the surface. As his fingers neared down to him, the ripples grew stronger, and a whisper echoed faintly. "Remember or be forgotten." Jake pulled Finn's hand back. Whoa, buddy. Don't go touching haunted moon mirrors. Rule number 1. Finn hesitated but nodded. "Yeah, you're right. But whatever this is, the moon wants us to see it." They turned away from the mirror, but as they did, the air shifted. The hum in the castle grew louder, becoming a soft chant. Voices layered together, not frightening, but insistent. The statues along the walls moved, slowly, subtly, not stepping forward, but tilting their heads, as though watching Finn and Jake with empty faces. Jake's fur bristled. Finn? Pretty sure the faceless guys are looking at us." Finn steadied himself. "Don't panic. They're not attacking. They're just watching." Jake groaned. "Yeah, man, but that's almost worse." They pressed deeper into the castle, entering a long corridor that glowed faintly at the end. The air grew warmer here, the hum softer, like a lullaby sung from far away. As they approached, they found a small chamber. At its center was a throne, empty, broken, but glowing with faint silver light. Above the throne, an inscription shimmered in glowing runes. Neither Finn nor Jake could read it, but the meaning pressed quietly into their minds. The moon remembers all. Finn whispered the words aloud. Jake rubbed his arms. So, the moon's like a giant diary? Except, haunted. Finn's eyes stayed fixed on the throne. If it remembers everything, then maybe it remembers us. Not just now, but all the versions of us. Past, future, everything. As they stood there, a new voice stirred. Not a whisper this time. A calm, steady voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. You walk in shadows of memory. You seek what is lost. But beware, for what is remembered may not wish to be found. The silver glow around the throne pulsed, and the faceless statues outside shifted closer, their footsteps soft as dust. Jake backed up slowly. Finn, I think the castle's awake now. Finn raised his sword, though his voice trembled. Yeah, and I think it wants to show us something. The chamber grew brighter, the walls trembling with light. The throne shimmered, and the air filled with image memories spilling into the room. Finn saw flashes of adventures past, him and Jake fighting monsters, laughing in the treehouse, singing with Marceline. But woven between them were things he didn't recognize. Battles never fought. Friends never met. A future where ooh looked different. Strange. Lonely. Jake whispered. Dude, it's showing us possible lives. Not just memories. Everything. Finn's eyes widened. This castle, it's haunted by every version of us. The light dimmed, the visions fading back into silence. The throne pulsed once more, then grew still. The hum quieted. The statues returned to stillness. And the castle, for now, slept again. Finn lowered his sword, breathing hard. Jake exhaled, stretching his arms wide. Man, this moon is seriously next-level weird. Finn nodded, his eyes lingering on the throne. Yeah, and I think we've only just started. The silence after the visions felt heavy. Finn sheathed his sword slowly, his hands trembling. Jake rubbed his face, stretching his body into a hammock. Dude, that was a lot. Like too much dream TV at once. Finn sat on the edge of the empty throne, staring at the cracked floor. Jake, did you see it? Not just our memories, but all those other lives? It's like the moon's keeping them. Jake swung his legs, sighing. Yeah, man. Kinda wish it kept snacks instead. Haunted peanut butter or something. Finn chuckled softly, but his eyes stayed serious. We can't stop now. There's more the moon wants to show us. They left the throne room, the hallways echoing with soft, hollow sound. The faceless statues were still, but their presence lingered like shadows behind closed eyes. The further they walked, the colder the air grew. Dust curled across the floor, moving in patterns, as if stirred by invisible breath. Jake shivered, his tail twitching. Okay. Definitely feeling the haunted vibe again. Surface stretched wide and pale, glowing under the starlight. Finn's boots crunched softly in the dust. Jake stretched behind him, his body lengthening lazily. Man, this moon's like a giant powdered donut, Jake muttered. Can we eat it? Princess Bubblegum adjusted her scanner, its screen flickering with faint pink light. No, Jake, it's not edible. At least not by anyone who wants to stay alive. Finn laughed softly. Guess we'll stick to donuts back home, dude. PB knelt in the dust, holding the scanner close to the ground. The device hummed quietly, its antenna twitching like an insect's. Faint waves of static rippled across the screen. "There it is again," she whispered. "The signal, the whispers. They're strongest here." Jake tilted his head, ears twitching. "Whispers? You mean like creepy ghost sounds?" PB nodded, her voice low. "Not quite sounds, more like frequencies, patterns hiding in the dust. Something is speaking through the moon itself." Finn crouched beside her, peering at the glowing lines on the screen. "What's it saying?" PB frowned. "I don't know yet, but it's repeating, over and over, like an echo trapped in stone." Jake scratched his chin. "Okay. What if the stone doesn't want to be trapped? What if it's like spooky moon karaoke?" PB glanced at him with a small smile. "Then I guess we're the audience." A soft wind stirred, though no air should have existed. Dust lifted gently from the surface, spiraling around them like pale smoke. Finn squinted, brushing his hand through it. "PB, I think the dust is moving on its own." She scanned again, eyes narrowing. "Yes, the particles are reacting to the signal. It's almost as if the whispers are shaping the dust, showing us something." The spirals thickened, forming faint outlines, shapes half-formed, like faces hidden in fog. Jake stepped back slowly. Finn, you've seen this too, right? Tell me it's not just me." Finn's voice dropped low. "It's not just you, dude." The shapes lingered, shifting, blinking with hollow eyes. PB adjusted the scanner quickly. Lines of data poured across the screen. "It's not random. These whispers, they're memories. The moon is remembering something." Jake's fur bristled. "Memories of what?" PB shook her head, her tone soft. "I don't know, but whatever it is, it's old." The faces dissolved back into dust. The air grew still again. But the scanner kept humming, a steady pulse like a heartbeat. Finn rubbed his arms. "PB, this place feels alive, like it's watching us." PB didn't look up. Her voice was calm but low. "Maybe it is." They walked further across the silver sands, following the scanner's pull. The ground shifted subtly under their feet, as though guiding them deeper into the moon's surface. Jake groaned, stretching wide. "Dude, this is classic haunted moon stuff. First the whispers, then the dust faces. I'm calling it right now. Next is spooky moon monsters." PB shook her head gently. "No, not monsters. Not yet. It's something quieter. Something that wants to be heard." Finn clenched his fist, his voice firm. "Then we'll listen. Whatever the moon's trying to tell us, we'll figure it out." The scanner beeped sharply. PB stopped, holding it up. The ground beneath them glowed faintly, a circle of silver light spreading slowly across the dust. Jake's eyes widened. Finn, the floor was glowing." Finn drew his sword, stepping closer. "PB, what is this?" She stared at the glowing circle, her voice soft with awe. "It's a seal. An ancient mark. The whispers. They're coming from down there." The glow pulsed once, a deep, soft thrum that echoed in their bones. And with it came a whisper, clearer than before. "Remember." Jake stumbled back. "Yep. Nope. Definitely heard that. That's a ghost whisper, Finn." Finn's eyes stayed fixed on the circle. "PB, it's talking to us." PB nodded slowly. "Yes, and it's only the beginning." The glow dimmed, the dust settling around them, but the scanner still pulsed steadily, pointing them deeper into the moon's secrets. PB adjusted her pack, her eyes serious. "Come on. We're not done yet." Finn tightened his grip on his sword. Jake sighed, stretching into a shield shape. And together, They stepped forward, toward the whispers hidden in the dust. The glow of the silver seal lingered in the dust, its light fading slowly back into the ground. PB adjusted the knobs on her scanner, the screen flickering with waves of static. She whispered, "It's still repeating. A pattern. A code." Finn leaned over her shoulder. "What kind of code?" PB's voice dropped low. "Not numbers, not letters. Something older. Like, the moon's own language." Jake stretched his neck over them, squinting. "Moon's got a language? Why doesn't it just talk normal? Like, 'Hey dudes, welcome to my spooky dust house.'" PB smiled faintly, her eyes never leaving the screen. "Maybe this is its normal." The scanner beeped sharply, and the ground around the circle stirred. Dust rose slowly, lifting into the air, forming faint spirals that drifted toward the cliffs beyond. Finn's eyes widened. "It's pointing us somewhere." Jake groaned, shifting into long-legged strides. "Great. Dust GPS. Lead the way? Moon dust?" PB followed closely, her scanner humming louder with each step. The air grew colder, the silence heavier, as though the moon itself were holding its breath. At last, they reached the base of a jagged cliff. The spirals of dust pressed close against the rock and slipped silently through a narrow crack. Finn ran his hand along the stone. "It's a passage." PB crouched, scanning. The device lit up bright pink. "Yes, this is where the whispers are strongest. The chamber's inside." Jake stretched his body flat, sliding halfway into the crack. "Yep, tunnel. Smells weird, though. Like, old paper and burnt marshmallows." Finn adjusted his pack. "Then that's where we're going." PB nodded. "Careful. Whatever's whispering. It's waiting for us." The tunnel was narrow and winding. Their footsteps echoed softly, dust sifting down from the ceiling with every breath of wind. Jake slithered ahead like a lantern, his body glowing faintly golden to light the way. Man, this is cozy and creepy at the same time. Like camping in a haunted shoebox. Finn gripped his sword but kept his voice calm. "It's not so bad. We've been through worse." PB trailed behind on her scanner, beeping steadily, the sound slow and rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. "The whispers are clearer down here," she murmured. "They're saying the same word again and again." Finn glanced back. "What word?" Her voice was soft. "Remember." The tunnel opened into a wide cavern. The walls glowed faintly silver, veins of crystal running like rivers of frozen light. In the center stood a tall stone arch, half buried in dust. PB's scanner went wild, beeping rapidly. "This is it. The source." Finn stepped forward, his eyes fixed on the arch. "It looks ancient." Jake's ears twitched. "Yeah, like super old, wizard dusty ancient." The air shifted suddenly. A low whisper filled the cavern, not from the arch, but from everywhere at once. "Remember." Dust lifted from the floor, swirling around them in soft spirals. Faces appeared once more, clearer than before. Not empty, not hollow. Children. Old men. Travelers. Voices of the past, caught in dust and stone. PB whispered in awe. "These are the memories. The moon has been keeping them, holding them in silence." Finn's grip tightened on his sword. "But why?" The whispers grew louder, layered voices overlapping, all repeating the same word. "Remember, remember, remember." Jake backed up, pressing against the wall. "Okay. Too many ghost voices. Way too many." The arch began to glow, its stone edges outlined in pale silver light. The dust spirals streamed toward it, pouring into the crack at its center. Finn stepped forward slowly. "PB, it's opening." PB's scanner screeched with static, then fell silent. She lowered it, her eyes wide. "It's not a passage," she whispered. "It's a memory gate, and it's inviting us inside." The glow pulsed brighter, spilling soft light across the cavern floor. The voices hushed all at once. Only one remained, calm and clear. "Come closer." Finn glanced at Jake, then at PB. And together, they stepped toward the arch, into the glow of the whispers. The silver glow of the arch shimmered like water. It pulsed softly, each thrum sinking into their chests like a heartbeat. Finn tightened the straps on his pack. Jake stretched tall and thin, peering at the light. PB held her scanner close, though it had gone silent, as if afraid to speak over the glow. The whisper came again, calm, almost soothing. "Come closer." Finn looked at his friends. "Ready?" Jake muttered. "Not really. Let's do it anyway." PB gave a small nod. "We have to." Together, they stepped into the light. The cavern disappeared. The air shifted. Warmth washed over them like sunlight through curtains. When their eyes adjusted, they were standing in a wide, endless field of silver dust. The ground shimmered like glass, and above them hung not the stars, but images, memories. They floated slowly across the sky, like lanterns drifting on a breeze. Jake tilted his head. "Whoa, Moon TV." Finn squinted at the nearest one. A flickering picture appeared in the era vision of ooh, but not the ooh they knew. The Candy Kingdom lay in ruins, empty, silent. Its candy citizens crumbled like brittle shells. Finn's breath caught. "That's not real, right?" PB's face was pale in the silver light. "It could be real, but not in our time. These are possibilities. The moon is showing us what could be." The vision drifted away, replaced by another. This time, the treehouse stood tall, but Finn and Jake were not inside. Instead, Marceline sat alone in the window, playing a slow song on her bass. Her face was quiet, lonely, eyes fixed on the horizon. Jake frowned. "Marcy looks sad, like we never showed up." Finn's fists clenched. "Why would the moon show us this stuff?" PB touched his arm gently. "Not to scare us, to remind us, to teach us that every choice matters." The silver field rippled under their feet. More visions swirled overhead. The Ice King. But without his crown, walking through a snowstorm with no memory of who he was. Flame Princess, burning brightly, but isolated in a kingdom of ash. The Lich, alone in a desert of bones, whispers surrounding him like chains. Jake shivered, shrinking smaller. "Okay. Definitely creepy moon slideshow. Can we skip to the good parts?" As if answering, the next vision shifted. This time they saw themselves. Finn and Jake, older, sitting together under a tree. PB was there too, reading quietly, while Jake's pups played in the grass. The image glowed warm, calm, peaceful. Finn's voice softened. "That's nice." PB's eyes lingered on it. "Yes, the moon doesn't only keep dark memories. It keeps every path, every thread, even the ones full of peace." The field trembled faintly. The visions overhead flickered, silver light twisting into darker shades. The whisper returned, stronger this time. "Remember." Finn looked around at his hand on his sword. "Remember what?" The dust rose from the ground, spiraling upward. forming shapes around them. Not just faces this time, figures. Walking, moving. An army of memories, made of dust and light. They surrounded the trio silently. Not hostile. Just present. Jake whispered. Okay. This is like being inside a giant dream crowd. PB adjusted her scanner. The screen flickered to life as her symbols racing across it. Her eyes widened. It's a language. The whispers. Their words. They're saying, we are forgotten. The dust figures swayed, their hollow voices blending into one. We are forgotten. We are dust. Remember us. Finn swallowed hard. They're memories of people. Lives the moon kept safe. But now they're asking us not to forget. Jake's voice was small. Finn, what do we do? Finn raised his sword slowly, but didn't strike. He lifted it high, his blade catching the silver light. We remember, he said softly. We remember all of you. The dust figures stilled. The field grew quiet. The whisper softened, like a sigh carried on the wind. Good. The silver field rippled once more. The arch reappeared behind them, its glow steady, waiting to take them back. PB glanced at Finn and Jake. Her voice was low. There's more. Deeper inside. The memories aren't done with us yet. Finn nodded firmly. Then we keep going. Jake stretched himself into a long bridge toward the arch. Next stop, spooky moon sequel. Together, they stepped once more into the glow, carried deeper into the moon's memory. The arch swallowed them once again, its silver glow stretching into silence. When the light faded, they were standing in a cavern deeper than before. The walls were smooth, lined with faint carvings that pulsed like veins of light. The air was colder, still heavy with whispers. PB raised her scanner. It flickered violently, symbols racing across the screen faster than she could follow. Finn leaned closer. What's it saying now? PB's brow furrowed. They're not just words anymore. It's names. Thousands of names. Jake shivered. Moon's got a spooky roll call. Dust stirred at their feet, gathering into small spirals, guiding them forward through the cavern. The path ended at a massive door, half buried in stone. Its surface glowed faint pink, like sugar glass in moonlight. Finn blinked. PB, that looks familiar. PB's face paled. It does? It's Candy Kingdom design, but older, far older than me. Jake's eyes widened. Wait, you're saying your kingdom's got moon doors? That's new. PB reached out slowly, her fingers brushing the surface. The door pulsed under her hand, recognizing her. The whispers hushed. The cavern grew still. Then the door began to open. Beyond the door stretched a long hall, lined with broken statues. Each statue was carved in pink stone, their faces cracked away, their bodies crumbling. Finn stepped carefully. Who are they? PB walked slowly among them, her hand brushing the shattered shoulders. They're rulers. Candy Kingdom rulers. But not the ones I knew. Her voice grew softer, almost trembling. These are the ones who came before me. The forgotten queens and kings. The moon kept their memories, Jake whispered low. So, you're walking through your family history, Moon Edition. PB nodded faintly, her scanner beeping with every step. It's showing me what I was never meant to see. At the end of the hall stood a tall throne, empty, carved from the same pink stone. Above it glowed an inscription. letters curling in faint silver fire. Finn squinted. What does it say? PB's lips moved slowly, reading the words. We are dust, but we are not gone. Remember the first queen. The air shifted. Dust rose from the throne, spiraling into a shape. A woman. Tall, elegant. Her features sharp, her body made of shimmering particles. Her eyes glowed faintly. PB's breath caught. I know that face. I've seen it in the archives. That's the first Candy Queen. The Dust Queen's voice filled the hall, soft and layered, like many whispers at once. Child of sugar, you walk where we once ruled. Do you remember us? PB lowered her gaze. Her voice trembled. I know your name, but I didn't know you were here. I didn't know the moon was keeping you. The Queen tilted her head. Forgotten, buried in dust. Our kingdom lost us, but the moon remembers. Jake whispered to Finn. Dude, this is like a super spooky family reunion. Finn's voice was steady. PB, what do we do? The Dust Queen lifted a hand. The statues along the hall stirred, their cracked faces glowing faintly. Their whispers rose together. Remember us. Remember us. Do not let us fade. PB stepped forward slowly while her eyes steady now. I do remember. You built the kingdom that I now guard. Every stone, every piece of sugar. It came from you. The Queen's form flickered, her voice softening. Good. Then the line continues. Do not let silence erase us. The hall quieted. The whispers fell away, leaving only the glow of the statues. The Queen dissolved into dust, returning to the throne. PB stood silently, her scanner humming faintly in her hand. Finn touched her shoulder gently. You okay? PB nodded slowly, her eyes thoughtful. Yes, but this changes everything. The Candy Kingdom wasn't just mine to shape. It's been shaped for centuries. The moon is the only one who remembered. Jake stretched into a soft hammock shape. Man, that's deep. Like candy deep. PB managed a small smile. Yeah, deeper than I imagined. The hall's far wall glowed suddenly, a second arch appearing, pale silver light spilling through the cracks. Finn lifted his sword slightly. Another gate. PB steadied her scanner. The whispers aren't done with us yet. They've shown me the past. Now they want to show us something else. Jake groaned softly, but stretched toward the arch anyway. All right, Moon. Let's see what else you got. The three of them stepped forward, the whispers gathering once more, guiding them into the next memory. The silver arch carried them into silence once again. This time, the air felt heavy, almost like water pressing down on them. The floor beneath their feet was smooth and hollow, curved like the inside of a bell. Faint carvings lined the wall, spirals that stretched upward, vanishing into shadow. PB adjusted her scanner. It flickered weakly, its steady hum replaced by a soft, wavering tone. Jake rubbed his ears. PB, is that your machine, or am I hearing music? PB frowned. It's not the scanner. The chamber itself is singing. The sound was faint at first. A low, gentle whistle, sliding up and down like a breeze across glass. But the longer they listened, the clearer it became. A lullaby. Soft, endless, carried not by a voice, but by the hollow walls themselves. Finn lowered his sword slowly. It's beautiful. Jake's eyes drooped, his body slumping into a beanbag shape. Man, it's making me so sleepy. Like deeper than pizza nap sleepy. PB held her scanner close, watching the patterns crawl across the screen. The lullaby isn't just sound. It's information. Each note is a piece of code. Dust lifted from the floor, gathering in soft spirals once again. But this time, they didn't form faces. They formed landscapes, an ocean of still water, a forest burning slowly to ash, a sky without stars. The lullaby deepened, wrapping around the visions like a cradle song. PB's voice was low. These aren't memories of the past. They're warnings. Visions of what could come. Finn clenched his fist. The moon's trying to tell us the future. Jake cracked one eye open, his voice groggy. Future's looking pretty scary, dude. The spirals shifted again. Now they showed the Candy Kingdom, its towers crumbling, its rivers of syrup dried to dust. PB's hands trembled around her scanner. No, she whispered. That's my kingdom. The lullaby swelled gently, the song turning sorrowful, as if mourning something not yet lost. Finn touched her shoulder. PB, it's not saying this will happen. It's saying it could. PB steadied her breath, her eyes fixed on the fading vision. Then we have to make sure it doesn't. The chamber darkened suddenly. The lullaby slowed, and its notes stretching, deeper, heavier. A shadow stirred in the dust. Not a face, not a figure, just a vast shape, shifting and curling like smoke. The moon was silent, its surface glowing silver under the stars. Finn and Jake wandered across the dust, their boots sinking softly into the powder. They had been following faint glimmers, lights that danced just ahead of them, like fireflies leading them deeper. Jake stretched tall, his ears twitching. Yo, Finn, you hear that? Like a tick-tick sound? Finn paused, listening. At first it was only silence, but then tick-on-tick-on-tick, like a giant clock hidden under the moon's skin. The sound guided them to a wide crater. Its walls sloped gently inward, and at the center stood something strange. A clock, but not like any they had seen. Its face was carved into the rock itself, and the numbers glowing faint blue. Its hands were frozen at midnight. Dust drifted across it like snow, yet the ticking sound still echoed faintly, as if the clock was alive. Finn whispered, "That's beautiful. Like the moon's own heartbeat." Jake raised an eyebrow. "Or like a giant alarm we really don't want to snooze." They stepped closer. Finn reached out, and his hand brushing against the cool stone. The moment his fingers touched the center, the ticking stopped. Silence. Then a ripple spread across the crater, the dust lifting into the air. The clock's frozen hands glowed brighter. Jake opened his mouth to speak, but when he did, his words came out backward. "Gesagt, Winnie." Finn spun around, eyes wide. "Jake, what was that?" Jake tried again, his voice echoing oddly. The syllables twisted in reverse. It was his voice, but folded back on itself. The crater answered. A soft chime rang out, like glass bells struck in slow motion. The air shimmered. Shadows appeared around the crater's rim, not figures, not people, but outlines of time itself, like after images caught in rewind. They flickered in silence. Finn and Jake walking in reverse, their footsteps lifting from the dust, their shadows unspooling. Finn gripped his sword tightly. "Okay, this is officially the weirdest moon crater ever." Jake's backward voice echoed again, softer now, like a reflection in water. "Finn squinted. I think it's saying it is time to turn back. The clock hands twitched once. Not forward, but backward. A single slow movement, undoing midnight, dragging the crater deeper into silence. The shadows leaned closer, their outlines trembling like old film. The chime echoed again. Jake shivered, his voice still broken. Iswakerutuf ate ni elnart, ato by era eunif. Finn's chest tightened. He could feel it now. The crater wasn't just a place. It was a trap. A frozen clock holding back something they weren't meant to touch. The ticking began again. Slower. Heavier. Like a countdown. And the crater whispered, low and endless. Do not break the clock. The ticking grew heavier, each beat echoing through the crater walls. Tick-tock, tick, but never forward. Always backward. Finn steadied his sword, his boots pressing deeper into the dust. Jake, stay close. Jake stretched, but his words came out broken, folded over themselves like ripples. Esu ak desrever siemit nif. Finn frowned, straining to listen. I think you said, time is reversed? Jake nodded, relieved that Finn understood. His body stretched thin like a ribbon, but his shadow on the ground moved opposite, unfolding before he even shifted. The crater's rim shimmered. Dust lifted into the air, twisting in spirals. The outlines of moments appeared again, ghostly and delicate. Finn gasped softly. There himself, walking backward out of the crater, retracing steps he hadn't taken yet. Beside it, Jake flickered like a loop, stretching, shrinking, then folding back into his smaller shape. The air whispered, you are inside the clock now. Finn shivered. The crater's making us part of it. The clock face pulsed with light. The hands twitched again, sliding backward another minute. Each movement sent a ripple through the ground, like time itself shivering. Jake's backward voice echoed louder, his tone urgent. Flesimik leave ton olanef. Finn's eyes softened. I know, buddy. But hang on. We'll figure this out. He placed his palm on the clock again. The stone was icy cold, yet under it, he felt something move. A heartbeat. Slow. Ancient. The crater was alive. Not a machine. Not just stone. Something older. Suddenly, the visions around them changed. Not just shadows of themselves, but memories unraveling backward. The Candy Kingdom, its towers crumbling, then reassembling, then vanishing into raw sugar. Marceline, her song folding in reverse. Each note swallowed back into silence. The Ice King, his crown slipping from his head, then returning, then being forged from shards of crystal. Jake's ears flattened, his backward words heavy. And on Nibsa, Revan Taho Isnak Unif. Finn understood. We're not just seeing the past. We're seeing what never was. What was almost erased. The ticking slowed. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The crater's voice joined the sound, layered, like hundreds of clocks whispering at once. Time is not broken. Time is frozen. Guard the hour. Guard the silence. Finn felt his chest tighten. Guard it from what? The dust swirled higher, forming a hollow shape above the clock face. A great shadow, its edges unraveling like torn fabric. It leaned over them silently, its shape flickering in reverse, appearing, then vanishing, then almost appearing again. Jake's warped voice trembled. Finn swallowed hard. He understood. Time isn't logic. It's a dream. And something's trying to wake it up. The ticking stopped. The crater sighed, a breath of dust across the air. The clock hands glowed, frozen again at midnight. The shadow vanished. The crater whispered low, "Do not let the clock strike, or the moon will remember everything, at once." Finn and Jake exchanged a long, quiet look. The silence weighed heavy between them. Then slowly, the ticking began again, backwards. The ticking pressed heavy in the air. Each sound stretched longer, drawn out, as though the moon itself was exhaling. Finn stood at the center of the crater, hand hovering over the glowing clock face. Jake drifted nearby, his body stretching lazily, but his voice still trapped in backward folds. "Tis ikalitnak ianiv." Finn frowned softly. "You're saying you can't handle this much longer?" Jake nodded, his shape wobbling like soft taffy. His shadow unraveled, moving seconds ahead of him, like it already knew what he'd do. Finn pressed his hand to the clock again. The stone pulsed cold, a throb that echoed through his arm. The hands twitched backward 1 second, and then another. The crater sighed. The ground shimmered. And suddenly, Finn felt himself split. Another Finn flickered beside him, a ghostly outline moving in reverse. It swung his sword backward, stepped backward, even breathed backward. Jake's backward voice cracked. "Monkai matakul nif." Finn turned. His reverse self was staring at him, its eyes hollow silver. The crater's whispers deepened. "Every touch unwinds you. Every second undone. Do not break. Do not forget." The reverse. Finn raised its sword not to attack, but to unswing, to erase the strike before it began. Finn's breath caught. "This isn't just reflection. It's my thread of time, pulled loose." Jake trembled, his paws curling. "Adisnal written imak, ifital anya." Finn's chest tightened. He understood. "If we get pulled in completely, we won't come back." The dust around the crater lifted, forming scenes in reverse again. The treehouse collapsing, then uncollapsing. PB's lab exploding, then pulling shards back together, flasks refilling, fire reversing into sparks. The visions unraveled faster, blurring into a storm of undone moments. Finn shielded his face. "Jake, the crater's losing control." Jake stretched thin, wrapping around Finn protectively. His backward voice echoed desperately. "Patzadin yani." Finn clenched his jaw. "We need to stop." "But how?" The crater answered. A deep, resonant chime, like a clock tower hidden in the moon's heart. The hands of the clock shivered, half moving, then freezing, caught between midnight and nothing. The dust storm quieted. The reverse. Finn flickered, then dissolved into silver threads. The crater whispered low. "Balance. Not forward. Not back. Only stillness." Finn lowered his hand slowly, letting the glow fade from his palm. The ticking softened, its backward rhythm growing faint. Jake slumped, his voice unsteady but clearer. "Whoa, Finn, I think I can talk normal again." Finn exhaled deeply. "Yeah. The clock's not pulling as hard now." They stood in silence, the crater humming faintly under their feet. It wasn't threatening anymore. But it wasn't safe either. Finn gazed at the frozen hands. "It's not broken. It just doesn't want to move." Jake rubbed the back of his head. "So what happens if it does?" The crater answered with only one whisper, gentle, but heavy as stone. "Then time ends where it began. crater lay silent, its frozen hands glowing faint blue. Dust floated lazily in the air, like snow caught in slow motion. Finn and Jake stood at the center, breathing quietly. The moon seemed to wait, as if holding its breath. Finn touched the stone again, but softer this time. No ripple, no pull. Just a faint warmth, like the memory of touch. Jake leaned closer. Feels calmer now, like it's watching us. Finn nodded. Or remembering us. The dust stirred. Slowly, carefully. It spiraled upward, forming a shape. A tall figure, robed in tattered silver. Its face hidden beneath a smooth mask, like the clock's own surface. Its body flickered, woven from echoes, its voice carrying the hush of endless ticking. I am the keeper of hours. The clock is my heart. The moon is my silence. Who disturbs my stillness? Finn tightened his grip on his sword and dared but didn't raise it. We're not here to break anything. We just heard the whispers. Jake scratched his ear nervously. And, the backward voice thing? Not cool, man. The figure tilted its head. You touched the frozen hour. You became unwound. Few survive its pull. Finn stepped forward. Then why does it exist? Why freeze time in the first place? The keeper's mask glowed faintly. To guard the first moment. To keep time from spilling. If the clock strikes forward, the end returns to the beginning. If it strikes backward, the beginning devours the end. Jake groaned. So either way, everything gets totally wrecked. Finn's brow furrowed. And you've just been sitting here, holding the hand still? The keeper's voice deepened, echoing through the crater. For eternity. For silence. For the moon's memory. Visions rose around them again, but slower now. Not storms, not chaos. Just fragments. A candy kingdom, frozen in silver light. The treehouse paused in mid-laughter. The earth itself suspended, oceans stilled, clouds locked in place. Finn shivered. This is what happens if the clock takes control. Jake whispered, his voice small. Everyone, stuck forever. Like a nap you can't wake up from. The keeper lowered its head. Stillness is safe. Movement is ruin. That is why I guard. Finn clenched his fists. But time's supposed to move. People are supposed to laugh, to change, to grow. If everything freezes, that's not life. The crater ticked faintly, its hands trembling, as if stirred by his words. Jake muttered, Finn? I think you're making the clock emotional. The keeper's mask tilted again. You believe movement is worth the risk? Finn stood tall, his voice steady. Yeah, because even if time brings endings, it also brings beginnings. And that's what makes it matter. The dust quivered. The visions flickered. The crater sighed long and low. The keeper's form dimmed, its voice soft now. Then you must prove it. Guard the clock. Do not let the hour strike, for if it does, all of Ooh will rewind into silence. The figure dissolved into dust, falling gently across the crater floor. The ticking stopped. Finn and Jake stood in the quiet. The clock hand still frozen. The air heavy with waiting. Jake whispered, So, Finn, I think we just got promoted. Official moon clock guards. Finn exhaled slowly. Yeah, but the test isn't over yet. The silence inside the crater grew heavy. Too heavy. Like a blanket pressing against their chests. Authentic. a single backward chime, low and hollow. The dust lifted into the air again, this time faster, whirling in spirals above Finn and Jake. Finn raised his sword instinctively. Jake stretched wide, ears flat against his head. But the dust didn't attack. It shaped itself into moving pictures, bright silver echoes. The past. Finn gasped softly. There he was, younger, smaller, charging at the Ice King, sword raised. But the moment rewound. The ice blast that had struck forward now sucked back into the crown. The fight unraveled into silence. The Ice King laughed backward, his voice like a song in reverse. And then the vision flickered away. Jake stared. Whoa, it's like a Finn highlight reel. But, spooky edition. Another vision spun to life. This time Marceline. She sat in her cave, strumming her bass. The song unfolded backward, notes swallowing themselves, her lips closing as though unsinging. Her eyes looked at Finn, but not at him, at the echo of him, her gaze unreadable. Finn whispered, "This isn't just memories. It's testing us. It wants to see if we'll interfere." Jake frowned. "But dude, what if we should? What if it shows something we can fix?" Finn shook his head slowly. "No. The Keeper said balance. We can't touch what's already been." The crater ticked again. A new echo swirled to life. Flame Princess her fire blazing high, her anger surging. Finn saw himself and pleading with her, but in reverse, his words folded back into silence. Her flames dimmed, her fists unclenched, and she turned away, unburning the air. Jake winced. "Man, that was rough the first time. But backward? Kinda worse." Finn's grip on his sword tightened. He wanted to step forward, to reach for her again. But the clock ticked louder, reminding him. Stillness. Balance. He stayed rooted. The visions came faster. The Lich's skeletal grin unwinding into shadow. The Candy Kingdom towers folding back into sugar rock. Finn and Jake themselves laughing in their treehouse, then watching the laughter pull back into silence. The crater whispered low. "Will you break the silence, or will you guard it?" Finn's heart pounded. He felt the weight of every moment, every temptation to reach in, to change what he'd lost. But he steadied his breath. He lowered his sword and whispered back, "We guard it." The dust stilled. The visions faded. The backward ticking softened into a gentle hush. Jake stretched long with relief and collapsing into a hammock shape. "Dude, that was like the hardest no-touching rule ever." Finn smiled faintly, though his eyes were heavy. "Yeah. But I think we passed." The crater pulsed once. The frozen hands glowed brighter. The whispers softened to a lullaby. "You remember? You hold balance. One test remains." Finn and Jake exchanged a long glance. One test left. The crater waited, silent, heavy. Its frozen hands glowed like pale stars. Finn and Jake stood at the center, breathing in the cold lunar air. Neither spoke. The weight of the Keeper's words still lingered. Authentic. Just one. The final test began. The dust lifted once more, but softer now. Not a storm, not a battle. Just a gentle rise, like moonlight becoming solid. It swirled into a vision. Not the Candy Kingdom. Not Marceline. Not Flame Princess. Not the Lich. It was them. Finn and Jake in their treehouse, sitting side by side, laughing at nothing, faces glowing in warm lantern light. The vision unfolded backward. The laughter sucked away. The smiles faded. Their younger selves leaned apart, rewound into silence. The hammock unswayed. The lantern dimmed. The moment slipped away. Finn's chest ached. Jake's ears lowered. "Finn," Jake whispered softly. "What if the test is showing us when it all ends? Like us?" Finn swallowed hard. "No, it's not the end. It's just frozen. Like everything else in here." The crater's whispers spread through the air. One thread keeps the R. Break it, and all silence shatters. The vision glowed brighter. The dust shapes of Finn and Jake shimmered, fragile as glass. Jake stretched toward it, but Finn caught his arm. "Wait, that's what it wants. If we try to hold on too tight, we'll lose it." Jake hesitated. "So we just watch it?" Finn nodded slowly. "Yeah, because real moments aren't frozen. They move. They live. That's what makes them ours." The dust trembled. Frozen laughter flickered. Then softly, it released. The vision collapsed into silver sparkles, falling like gentle snow. The moon was too quiet. Not the kind of quiet Marceline liked. Not the soft hum of night air back on Earth. This was empty. Hollow. She floated just above the surface, her boots barely brushing silver dust. Her bass guitar rested across her back, strings humming faintly with the moon silence. Her eyes scanned the horizon. No wind. No trees. Only endless craters, sprawled like ancient scars. But she felt it. That pull. That gaze. Something was watching. Marceline frowned, pulling her jacket tighter around her shoulders. "All right. Who's creeping on me? Come on out." No answer. Just silence. But the shadows moved differently here. Longer than they should be, stretching across the craters, even without a sun. Her own shadow didn't sit right. It leaned too far, angled away from her feet, as if following its own path. Marceline floated a little higher. The shadow followed. Not hers. Not really. She landed at the lip of a crater. Inside, the dust glowed faintly, as though lit from beneath. She could almost hear it breathing. Marceline crossed her arms. "Okay. If you think staring is going to freak me out, you picked the wrong vampire." Still silence. But then faintly, a whisper. Not words. Just the sound of something shifting. Something watching closer. Her guitar hummed softly, unstrummed, as though the strings felt the whisper too. Marceline's eyes narrowed. "You hearing this too, babe?" she murmured to the guitar. It buzzed faintly in reply. The shadows deepened. They stretched over the crater, folding together, weaving into long shapes. Marceline squinted. Figures. Tall. Thin. Faceless. Just outlines of something that shouldn't exist. One of them tilted its head. Her heart didn't skip. Marceline didn't spook easy, but her grip on the guitar tightened. "Yeah, you're real enough," she muttered. "Question is, what do you want?" The figure didn't answer. None of them did. But their gazes pressed harder, a weight against her chest, like invisible hands leaning close. The dust inside the crater stirred. It rose like smoke. Shapes formed inside it, flickers of her own memories. Her floating in her cave. Her singing alone. Her watching the night through her window. Marceline's jaw clenched. "You've been following me longer than just tonight, huh?" The shadows tilted their heads again. Closer. Closer. And the whisper returned. This time clearer. Seeing. Always seeing. Marceline's eyes flashed red for just a moment, fangs sharp in the glow. Careful. I don't like being spied on. The crater pulsed faintly under her boots, like a heartbeat. The shadows froze, then melted back into the ground, leaving only the silence. Marceline floated higher, her eyes scanning the endless horizon. Her shadow stretched long across the silver dust, too long, still following a path she hadn't taken. She muttered softly, half to herself, half to whatever was listening. Guess I'm not alone out here after all. Marceline drifted above the crater's rim, eyes sharp, ears tuned to every whisper of silence. The shadows had sunk back into the dust, but she knew they hadn't left. They were waiting, watching. Her guitar buzzed faintly on her back, a restless hum, like it wanted to play, but not with her hands. Marceline muttered, "Relax, babe. They can watch all they want. Doesn't mean they get a free show." The dust shimmered. Soft ripples spread across the crater, as though the moon itself exhaled. Then a sound. Quiet. Barely audible. Her voice. Not now, not from her lips, but an old sound. A memory. Her own laugh, folded thin, rising from the shadows. Marceline froze. No way. The shadows stretched tall again, forming into thin, faceless outlines. But this time, their heads tilted the same way hers did. Their hands lifted like hers. Her own movements, mirrored in silence. Marceline hovered slowly, eyes narrowing. She raised her arm. So did they. She turned her head. They followed. "Cute trick," she whispered. The shadows held still. But the dust inside the crater stirred again. This time, a voice emerged. Her voice. Not a laugh. A song. Low, slow notes. Unfolding backward. Her songs played wrong. Her chest tightened. Her music was hers. Personal. Memories woven into strings. Hearing it pulled apart and echoed by something faceless. It stung. The shadows stepped closer. Their feet made no sound, but each one held something faint. The outline of a guitar. Shadows of her bass. They lifted them as one, and strings humming faintly with her own songs. Marceline's eyes glowed faint red. "You're not me. You don't get to be me." The whisper answered, all voices at once. Seen. Heard. "You are never alone." Her grip on her real guitar tightened. She strummed one sharp note, and the sound cut through the crater like lightning. The shadows shuddered. Their guitars buzzed faintly, but their strings snapped in silence, fading into dust. They didn't vanish. They only tilted their heads, watching her more closely now, as if learning. Marceline floated higher, her voice low. "You think copying me makes you strong? Try living my life." The shadows didn't answer, but their silence pressed heavier. Her reflection still leaned too far, her shadow stretching wrong across the silver ground. And when she finally turned away, she swore she heard her own whisper follow. "Always seen." The moon's silence pressed heavy, so heavy it hummed. Marceline floated over the crater, guitar snug against her back. Her eyes glowed faint red, still scanning the endless dust. She could feel it. The shadows weren't gone. They'd never left. Her own reflection still stretched long and wrong, drifting slightly behind her, as if lagging in time. Not following. Not matching. Doing something else. Marceline landed softly at the crater's rim. Her boots sank into silver dust, a faint crunch in the silence. The shadow didn't land with her. It stayed hovering above the ground, a few inches higher. Wrong. Her chest tightened. Guess you're done playing mirror. The shadow tilted its head. Slowly, its outline thickened. It stepped sideways away from her. Marceline's jaw set. All right. Now you're just being rude. More shadows stirred. One stepped forward, the shape of a Marceline with her guitar raised, but silent. Another drifted past. Its arms crossed, just like hers, but its lips moved without sound. Dozens now. Each one her. Each one almost right. Each one wrong. They weren't copies. They were versions. Marceline's stomach twisted. Are you trying to show me? The nearest shadow blinked, eyes glowing faint silver. Its lips shaped words with no sound. But Marceline knew the shape. She'd said those words before. I'm fine. Her voice cracked softly. She remembered that night, sitting alone in her cave, telling herself she was fine, when she wasn't. The shadow faded back into dust. Another stepped forward. This one strummed a guitar, its hands shaking. The song was jagged, broken. The way she'd played once, long ago, when she was too tired to hold herself together. Marceline flinched. Her hands twitched toward her guitar, but she stopped. She whispered, "Don't play that. That was mine." The shadow strummed again. The broken song unraveled into silence. Then it too faded. The crater pulsed faintly. The whispers deepened. Seen. Always seen. Every moment. Every silence. Marceline clenched her fists. Her voice shook out low and sharp. You think you're helping? You think I want this? The shadows leaned closer. One touched the ground. Her younger self, alone, hugging her knees. Another floated higher. Her older self, initiating, silent, staring off at the night sky. All of them looking back at her. All of them watching. Marceline's eyes burned red and fangs flashing. Stop. Stop watching me. She strummed one sharp note. The sound cracked through the crater. The shadows shook, splitting apart into dust. But even as they broke, their whispers lingered. You are never alone. Marceline floated back, her chest rising heavy. She closed her eyes. Her voice softened, almost a whisper. Yeah, that's the problem. The dust settled. The crater sighed. The silence folded in again. But she knew it wasn't over. The shadows weren't done. Not yet. The silence pressed close, thicker now, like a blanket she couldn't push away. Marceline hovered above the crater floor, her guitar snug across her chest. Her eyes glowed faintly red, searching the dark. She felt it before it happened. The shift. The weight of 100 eyes. The shadows rose again. Not thin. Not faint. Solid. Dozens of Marcelines stepping from the dust. Each one different. Each one familiar. One wore her old torn hoodie, hood low, eyes hidden. Another drifted barefoot, her bass slung low, strumming a soft hum. One was small child Marceline, wide-eyed, clutching a ragged doll. Another was older, her hair wild, her face lined, her mouth set in silence. Marceline's breath caught. Oh no, you're not me. You're not real. The closest shadow tilted its head. Its lips curved faintly. Then it spoke. Her voice. Maybe not now. Maybe not yet. But I'm you. The air pulsed cold. Her guitar hummed uneasily. Marceline bared her fangs. You don't get to just step out of my head. You're echoes. Nothing more. The child's shadow clutched the doll tighter. Her voice cracked. I was lonely. You were too. You remember? Marceline's hands trembled. She gripped the guitar tighter. The older shadow raised her head, her voice low. Years ahead. Tired. Silent. You know that's in you too. Marceline shut her eyes. Her voice shook. No, I'm not just that. I've changed. I keep changing. The shadows swayed. Their chorus whispered as one. Seeing. Always seeing. Every path. Every version. They stepped closer, boots silent on the dust. The hoodie shadow leaned near, her hidden eyes unreadable. You can't hide from yourself. You never could. Marceline's breath came shallow. Her own voices, her own faces, closing in around her. She strummed her guitar a sharp, trembling chord. The sound cracked through the crater, and the shadows staggered, fading at the edges. But they didn't vanish. They only steadied themselves, their eyes glowing faint silver. The child spoke again, softer this time. You don't want us, but we're still you. The older one added, calm and heavy. And we'll always be watching. Marceline's hands fell quiet on the strings. She lowered her head. Her voice was soft. So what? I just live with you? All the versions I could have been? Shadows didn't answer. They only stared, 100 gazes pressing deep into her chest. The silence stretched long. Too long! Until finally, the crater itself whispered low, seeing, always seeing, until you accept what watches. Marceline floated back, eyes dimming red. Her whisper was tired, barely a breath. And then I guess the real test's still coming. The shadows swayed, still and waiting. The moon exhaled. The silence held. The crater breathed. Silver dust lifted in slow swirls, settling across Marceline's boots. The shadows stood tall, rows of her own faces, her own voices, silent and waiting. Marceline's grip on her bass tightened. Her eyes flickered red, fangs sharp in the moonlight. All right, she muttered. You want to test me? Then stop creeping in silence. Say what you need to say. The hoodie shadow stepped forward. It tilted its head. Play, it whispered. Marceline's voice, but quieter, like it had been dragged through dust. Another shadow echoed. The child one. Sing. Then another. The older, worn-down version. Answer. The chorus rose together. All voices hers, overlapping in whispers. Play. Sing. Answer. Marceline's chest tightened. Her guitar hummed in her arms, strings vibrating restless. She strummed a slow chord, low and heavy. The sound spread through the crater, rolling like thunder caught in velvet. The shadows swayed. Their guitars lifted. They strummed too, but not in time. Each one off by a beat, as if 1,000 versions of her were trying to find the right rhythm. The sound was strange, wrong, her song broken into echoes. Marceline's voice rose, soft but steady. One verse, a lullaby she used to hum to herself when she couldn't sleep. The shadows sang it back. Some slower, some faster, some cracked, some sharp. 100 Marcies singing at once. Her lullaby torn apart. Her lullaby returned. She grit her teeth. Her voice wavered. Stop. That's mine. The older shadow raised her head. Her voice low, steady. It was yours. It is all of ours. Every song, every word. You are never alone in them. The child shadow stepped forward, her small hands gripping the doll. Her eyes glowed faint. You left me behind, but I'm still here, still watching. Marceline looked away, her throat tight. She whispered back, I had to. I couldn't stay that small forever. The child tilted her head, almost smiling. Then don't be afraid of me. Marceline strummed again, louder this time, her notes sharp and raw. Her own voice cut through the chorus, a single clear thread in the tangle. The shadows froze. Their voices dim. Their guitars fell quiet. For one long moment, Marceline's song filled the crater alone. The silence after was heavy. The shadows whispered together. Seen. Always seen. But not broken. Marceline lowered her guitar slowly. Her breath was uneven, but her eyes dimmed back from red. She murmured, Guess you're not here to beat me. You're here to make sure I don't forget. The shadows didn't nod. They didn't fade. They only stood in silence, their 100 gazes pressing soft, not harsh anymore, just present. And from the crater's depths, the whisper returned, Accept. And the watching becomes guard. The crater was still. The silver dust hung in the air, shining like frozen fireflies. The shadows stood in silence, dozens of them, all Marceline, all waiting. Her guitar felt heavy across her arms, but her grip was calm now. Oh, her breath was even. Her eyes glowed dim, no longer sharp red, just soft embers. So this is it, huh? She whispered. All the me's I could have been. All the me's I still might be. The hoodie shadow stepped closer. It lifted its hood slowly. Its eyes were her own, tired but gentle. You are not broken, it said. The child shadow touched the dust, her small hand leaving no mark. You are not alone. The older one, her face lined, her voice steady. And you are not done. Marceline swallowed hard. Her voice cracked, but her words held. Then stop hiding in my corners. Stop creeping in the quiet. If you're me, then just be with me. The shadows swayed as one. Their gazes softened. The chorus of whispers rose, low and gentle. Seen. Always seen. Guarded. Always guarded. The crater pulsed faintly, a slow heartbeat in the stone. The shadows began to fade, their edges loosening, returning to the dust. One by one, they sank back into the silver ground. The hoodie shadow last, lifting its hand in a small wave. Then silence. Only Marceline, her guitar, and the moon's long breath. She floated up from the crater floor, her boots brushing silver trails. The air was cold, but it no longer bit at her. Her chest was heavy, but not empty. She whispered into the stillness. Guess you're right. I was never really alone. Her voice echoed once, then faded. High above, the stars pressed close. The moon's face stretched pale and endless. Marceline strummed one last chord, a lullaby soft note. It drifted through the dust, warm against the cold. She closed her eyes, let herself drift weightless. And for the first time all night, she felt the silence, not as a weight, but as a rest. The moon's surface stretched wide, empty silver plains and hollow craters, all too quiet for for someone like Ice King. His boots scuffed at the dust. His long beard trailed like a lazy scarf behind him. He muttered to himself and half grumbling, half singing, "Should have brought penguins. Should have brought, like, snacks. Stupid moon. No vending machines." The silence didn't answer. It never did. It only pressed closer, like the moon was leaning in, listening. He sighed, adjusting his crown. The gems flickered weak, a little dimmer than usual. He patted it nervously. "Don't conk out on me, buddy. You're the only bling I got left." Then a crunch under his boot. Different from dust. Sharp. He froze, lifted his foot. A shard of something pale. Curved. Smooth. He brushed at the dust with his gloved hands. More shards. A circle. Edges sharp like frozen glass. And at the center, a mask. It was long, smooth as bone, its surface cracked in soft spiderweb lines. Two hollow eyes stared up, empty, endless. The mouth was still, no smile, no frown. Ice King blinked, cocked his head. "Well, that's creepy." He picked it up. Oh, it was cold, too cold. Colder than the moon dust around it. It hummed faint, like a faraway voice trying to break through static. Ice King chuckled nervously. Heh, cool cosplay prop, though. Bet it'd scare Finn real good. But he didn't drop it. He couldn't. His fingers clenched around it, like it belonged in his hands. The hum grew louder. Not sound. Not exactly. More like pressure. A memory at the edge of breaking through. He staggered back a step. His breath clouded in front of him, though the moon was airless. The mask pulsed once. Ice King Jane muttered quickly. "Okay. Nope. Nope, nope. Creepy moon junk. Definitely cursed. Probably full of, like, moon germs." But his hands didn't let go. His vision blurred. The mask's hollow eyes seemed deeper, like black wells pulling him in. He thought he saw a shape. Not his reflection. Someone else. A man. Tired eyes. Glasses cracked at the edge. Dark hair falling loose. Ice King's throat went dry. The name slipped out before he could stop it. "Simon?" The hum shivered through him, like the moon itself had heard. He stumbled, clutching the mask to his chest. His voice shook. No, I don't do that anymore. I'm Ice King. I don't remember Simon." But the mask pulsed again. A faint whisper. Not from outside. From within. "You do." Ice King dropped to his knees in the dust. The crown flickered weakly, its gems dimming like tired eyes. The mask pressed cold against his chest, as if it were waiting. He whispered, voice almost breaking. "Why now? Why here?" The moon gave no answer. Only the mask, silent, watching. The mask was cold in his hands. Too cold. Like the chill of old ice. Deep cave ice. The kind that never melts. Ice. King squinted at it, his long nose almost brushing its cracked surface. "You got that whole mysterious artifact vibe. But, you're a little needy, you know that?" The mask didn't laugh. Didn't even shift. But the hum returned low, steady, like a heartbeat buried in stone. Ice King tilted his head. The empty eyes seemed deeper now. Not hollow. Not nothing. Filled. But filled with something far away. He leaned closer, against his better judgment. And then a flicker. Not the moon. Not the dust. A memory. A kitchen table. Dim light. A notebook spread wide, scribbled with formulas. The air smelled faintly of coffee. And there a man. Not Ice King. Not yet. Simon. His glasses were crooked. His face tired, but kind. He was writing something, muttering numbers under his breath. Ice King gasped, stumbling back, mask nearly slipping from his hands. No. That's not me. That's old stuff. Buried stuff. I don't do Simon. The hum swelled, and another shard cut through. A girl's laugh. Soft. Warm. Marceline's laugh. The memory was blurry, just the sound. But it hit Ice King harder than a blow. His beard quivered. His eyes watered under the crown. He shook his head fast, clutching the mask like it might break. Don't play that. Don't show me her. But the mask pulsed again. Gentle, patient. Another shard. A mirror. Simon staring into it. No crown. No beard. Just weary eyes, studying himself like he didn't recognize the face. The whisper rose, the same faint voice from before. You do? Ice King's knees buckled. He knelt in the dust, mask pressed against his forehead. His breath came shallow and rasping. I don't want this. I don't want it back. It hurts. The crown flickered weakly, its gems giving off a tired glow, as if it too remembered. The moon stayed silent. The dust stayed still. Only Ice King's voice broke the quiet. Why do you want me to remember? What good is it? Simon's gone. Ice King's all that's left. The mask's hum softened, slow, rhythmic, like a lullaby buried in frost. And in the stillness, Ice King thought he heard Simon's voice. Not booming, not haunting, just sad. Not gone. Not yet. The silence pressed in again, leaving him kneeling, clutching the mask, breathing heavy into the dust. One tear slipped from his eye, freezing before it hit the ground. He whispered, small, fragile. Don't make me choose. The mask said nothing, only waited. The mask's surface glimmered faint, as if moonlight had been trapped under its cracks. It hummed steady, calling, inviting. Ice King's hand shook as he raised it higher. His voice wavered, half mutter, half plea. I shouldn't. It's bad news. Cursed junk always is. But he stopped, swallowed. His eyes darted down to its hollow gaze. But what if it's the only way to know? The crown flickered weak. The gems dimmed, like they knew what was coming. Like they couldn't stop it. Ice King pressed the mask against his face. Cold. Instant. Like plunging into deep water. The hum roared. The moon vanished. The dust vanished. And he fell. He was not kneeling in a crater. He was standing. In a small apartment. The air smelled faint of books, coffee, and something burning on the stove. He looked down, and not gloved hands. Not long blue sleeves. Skin, human hands. Fingers thin and pale, stained with ink. A voice slipped from his lips. Not the high, jagged pitch of Ice King. Calm. Low. Simon's voice. Marcy? Dinner's ruined again. Ice King's heart thundered. No, not Ice King's. Simon's. He staggered, clutching at the counter. He could feel it. The weight of glasses on his nose. The ache in his shoulders. The exhaustion deep in his bones. He muttered aloud, voice breaking between Ice King and Simo. No, I don't want to be. Here, don't make me. But the mask held him, pulled him deeper. The scene blurred, shattered, reshaped. Now he stood in the snow, dark sky above. Marceline's small hand clutched his. She looked up at him, her eyes tired but bright. "Simon?" she whispered. "Are we going to be okay?" His throat burned. The words slipped out, automatic. "Oh, yes, Marcy. I'll keep you safe. Always." Ice King's knees buckled. He clutched his chest. "Stop it. Stop showing me this. I can't." The memory melted again. Now a mirror. Simon staring into it. Dark rings under his eyes. The crown on the table beside him, gleaming faint. He whispered to his reflection, "Just a little longer. I can control it. I have to." Ice King tore at the mask, trying to rip it away. But it clung, cold as iron, frozen to him. The whisper rose inside his skull. Simon's voice, but layered with others. "You remember because you must. You wear us because you are us." Ice King screamed, a ragged cry that cracked in the still air. "No, I'm not him. I'm not Simon." The mask pulsed, hard enough to shake the ground. And Simon's calm voice echoed, close as a breath. "You are." The vision shattered. The moon snapped back. The crater. The dust. Ice King collapsed forward, mask slipping from his face. His beard was damp with tears. His crown flickered weak, barely glowing. He lay there, breathing ragged, the mask silent beside him. In the heavy silence, he whispered, soft, broken, "Why do you keep making me remember?" The mask did not answer, but its hollow eyes still stared. The mask lay half buried in silver dust. Silent now. Still. Ice King sat slumped against the crater wall, his beard tangled with tears, his crown dim, his hands trembling. He stared at it for a long time, his voice small, rasping. "You're cruel. You show me things I don't want. Things I can't keep. But..." His fingers twitched. Reached. "I can't let go either." He lifted it again. His chest rose sharp with fear. His breath shook. But he pressed it back to his face. The cold swallowed him whole, and the world broke open. He stood in the living room, curtains thin, dusty light spilling through. Books stacked high in every corner. On the couch, a young Marceline curled up, half asleep, her small frame wrapped in a blanket. Simon knelt beside her. A hand brushed her hair back gently, his voice soft, steady. "You're safe, Marcy. I promise. No matter what happens, I'll keep you safe." Ice King's throat burned. He tried to pull away, but the mask's grip deepened. The scene shifted. The apartment again. Papers scattered across the desk. The crown gleamed on the table, its jewels faintly glowing. Simon sat hunched, pen shaking in his hand. He whispered to himself, to no one, "It's fine. I can use it. Just a little. Just enough to keep her safe." The crown's light pulsed, in time with his heartbeat. The room quivered at the edges. Ice King staggered. He felt it in his own veins, the creeping cold, the weight of the crown, sinking deeper, squeezing tighter. He shouted, voice cracking, Don't put it on. You don't know what it'll do." But Simon didn't hear him. Simon was him, and the crown was already in his hands. Another shift. Snow falling. Endless snow. Marceline's voice, small and scared. "Simon, you're scaring me." Simon's hand shook as he lowered the crown. His eyes wet, his words broken. "I'm sorry, Marcy. I can't stop. I have to wear it. If I don't, we won't survive." Ice King cried out, falling to his knees in the snow. No, please don't do it. Don't choose the crown over her. But Simon's hands didn't waver. The crown pressed to his head. The jewels flared bright. The air froze sharp, and the man was gone. Ice King ripped the mask from his face. He screamed, the sound torn and ragged, echoing through the crater. His crown flickered wildly, jewels sparking with weak light, fighting the memories, drowning them. He clutched his head, rocking in the dust, voice shaking. Why? Why'd you make me see that? I can't be Simon again. It hurts too much. The mask lay silent in his lap. Its hollow eyes reflected nothing. But faintly, deep in the silence, a whisper lingered. You are both. Ice King shook his head violently. His beard swayed, tears freezing on his cheeks. No, I'm Ice King, not Simon, not anymore. But the mask didn't argue. It only waited, as if it knew he would wear it again. The mask was cold in his hands, so cold it burned. Ice King pressed it to his face anyway. He couldn't stop. Not now. Not when the memories had already begun to bleed through. The crown sparked faintly on his head, his jewels flickering against the mask's chill. Two powers pulling in opposite directions, but both rooted deep inside him. The world shifted. The crater dissolved, and Simon stood again. Not Ice King. Not yet. Simon. The first memory came sharp. Snow. A ruined city. Marceline's small hand clutched his, cold fingers trembling. She whispered, Are we really safe with you? Simon's throat ached as he bent down, his breath visible in the frost. Yes, Marcy. I promise. I'll keep you safe. The scene bled into another. A cluttered desk. Journals stacked high. Formulas scribbled in frantic ink. The crown sat nearby, its gems pulsing like a heartbeat. Simon's hand shook as he wrote, words spilling too fast. His voice cracked. I can use it. I have to. Just long enough. For her. For both of us. The crown glowed brighter. The mask's hum deepened. Ice King whimpered from inside the vision. He felt Simon's fear. Felt his need. The weight of trying to protect. The terror of losing. But layered over it, he felt something else. The icy whispers of the crown. Sharp, cold, endless. Wear me. Keep me. Let me guide. Simon's hand twitched toward it. Marceline's laugh echoed in his head. Her trust. Her warmth. Two voices pulling him apart. Another shift. A mirror. Simon stared at his own reflection. His eyes ringed dark. His lips trembling. Behind him, Marceline played with her doll, softly humming. Her voice steady, anchored. Simon's hand hovered at the crown. His reflection whispered back at him. You'll lose her. You'll lose yourself. But if you don't wear it, you'll lose her sooner. The crown flared. The whispers rose. Choose. Ice King clawed at the edges of the memory. No, don't make me watch this. I don't want to see it. But the mask bound him tighter. The hum locked him in. The memories wouldn't let go. The snow again. Marceline's hand slipping from his. Her eyes wide, afraid. Simon, you're different. His hands trembled. The crown pulsed on his head. The whispers bled through his voice. I'm sorry, Marcy. I'm so sorry. I can't stop it. His eyes flashed blue. His voice cracked, no longer steady, already fraying. Ice King sobbed through the mask, his tears freezing against its surface. Stop! Please stop! Don't take her away from me again! But the visions rolled on, unstoppable. a tide of memory breaking its dam, the warmth of Marceline's trust, the chill of the crown's whispers, both tangled inside him, both refusing to let go. The mask tightened. The crown burned cold. Simon's voice shattered, overlapping with the Ice King's. I promised, but I failed. Ice King tore at the mask, ripping it free at last. He collapsed into the moon dust, gasping for air, chest heaving. The crown flickered violently, its jewels sparking dim, trying to smother the memories, but too late. The faces lingered. Marceline, Simon, himself, all watching. He lay there, curled in the dust, whispering over and over, I'm not Simon. I'm not. I can't be. It hurts too much. The mask lay beside him, silent, patient. Its hollow eyes still waiting. The mask lay in the dust, silent, still. Ice King curled beside it, his beard tangled with frozen tears. His crown flickered faint, its jewels struggling to glow. He whispered hoarsely, to no one, to everyone, I can't be him. I can't be Simon. It hurts too much. The silence pressed heavy. The moon waited. But then a faint hum, not sharp, not cruel, gentle. The mask glimmered softly, its cracks glowing faint silver. The hollow eyes no longer pulled. They only watched. Ice King lifted his head, his own eyes red-rimmed, weary. What do you want from me? The whisper came, low and calm. Not gone. Not erased. Simon is you. You are him. He shook his head, tears sparkling in his beard. No, I'm the Ice King. I'm weird. I'm silly. I'm safe from all that. The mask pulsed once. You are both. His chest ached. His breath stuttered. He clutched his crown with one hand, the mask with the other. Two halves. Two lives. I don't want to lose her again, he whispered. I don't want to feel that pain. The whisper softened. Memory is pain, but it is also love. He sat in the dust, rocking slowly, holding both crown and mask. His voice cracked small. Then maybe I don't have to choose. Maybe I can just carry both. The crown flickered brighter, like a heartbeat catching. The mask's glow dimmed slowly, not fading into nothing, but into rest. The two forces did not fight. They only waited together. Ice King exhaled long, like a sigh that had been trapped for years. His hands lowered. The mask slipped from his fingers, sinking gently into the dust. It no longer hummed. Its cracks no longer glowed. But its presence lingered, quiet, like a face watching from the dark. Ice King whispered, barely a breath. Simon's still in there. Always was. And for once, the thought didn't tear him apart. It only made him tired. He lay back in the dust, the moon's pale sky above him, the silence heavy but soft. His eyes fluttered shut. His voice drifted weak, dreamlike. Good night, Simon. Good night, Marcy. Good night, me. The crown pulsed faint. The mask lay still, and the crater fell silent once more.